Coming up on this edition of UMTV News, Sandy Hook families reach a multi-million-dollar settlement with gunmaker Remington almost a decade after the shooting that took 27 lives.
Plus, secure your guacamole while it lasts. The U.S. has suspended the avocado import from Mexico. We'll tell you why.
And later on, Euphoria's Zendaya is now in Madame Tussauds Museum with her very own wax figure.
We will have these stories and a lot more on tonight's edition of UMTV News.
It starts right now.
Hello and welcome to UMTV News. I'm Erica Jones.
And I'm Kendall Onley. Thanks for joining us. As tensions between Ukraine and Russia rise, there could be issues here for American consumers. Over the past month, Russia has been increasing its troops along the border in what many believe will be a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. European and American officials have tried to squash the conflict, taking diplomacy measures, and even sending over troops of their own. Yet, while the conflict might seem far away, the crisis still has some home-hitting consequences. As retrieving materials from a war zone becomes harder, prices in stores and gas stations continue to increase.
The forces the Russians have massed, they could launch at any point.
Ukraine might be far away, but a further Russian invasion there would probably cost you money here. That's because it's not so easy to export goods from a war zone. Here are 4 ways a Russian attack on Ukraine could affect you financially. 1. You might have to pay more for gas. Russia is the world's second largest producer of oil. Prices are already spiking. Some analysts say conflict in Ukraine could send them over $100 a barrel. Prices haven't been that high in 7 years. 2. Global food prices could increase. Russia is the world's top exporter of wheat. Ukraine produces wheat and corn.
If any conflict which disrupts those flows will help to only tighten agricultural markets quite significantly.
3. You might have to pay more in interest on your next loan. The Federal Reserve is already hinting it'll raise interest rates. Increased inflation could add to its motivation.
This is not a good situation. We have to reassure people that we're going to defend our inflation target and we're going to get inflation back to 2%.
4. You might take a hit to your next stock portfolio. Markets fell Monday when the U.S. said it would close its embassy in Ukraine. Investors know the world's economy is connected.
The whole world has become dependent on Russian petro money. We're all going to have a fundamental rethink of whether or not the price is worth it to be so dependent on Russian money.
I'm Kendall Onley, reporting for UMTV News.
And while the conflict in Europe has caused some supply chain issues, Mexico has also given American consumers something to worry about. The U.S. has suspended avocado imports from Mexico after a U.S. official was threatened. According to Mexico's Agriculture Ministry, USDA food inspector received a threatening call to his official cell phone. Michoacan, a state in western Mexico, is the only area authorized to export avocados to the U.S., but it is also the site of a turf war between criminal organizations there. Mexican local and state police are working with the USDA to try to address the issue.
The last 21 years in the western U.S. have been the driest in more than 1,200 years. That's according to a new study, which also found the mega drought to be more than 70% worse because of humans. In Los Angeles, the city just had its 8th driest January on record with less than 1/10 of an inch of rain, and extreme drought conditions are expected to continue throughout this year. This happening as parts of the Sierra Nevada experiencing its longest snowless stretch in the winter, following a record snowy December. The lead author of the study says it will take multiple years of heavy rain and snowfall totals to end the drought.
Yesterday marked the 4-year anniversary of the high school shooting that killed 17 people in Parkland, Florida. Since then, activists say more needs to be done to strengthen gun laws. Manuel Oliver, who lost his son Joaquin in the shooting, traveled to Washington to make his stance on gun laws known. He did that by climbing a construction crane near the White House and draped a banner that said, 45,000 people died from gun violence on your watch.
Still Joaquin's dad. He's representing Joaquin in a way to be heard. And since we were in the White House in December expecting being seen by Joe Biden, our president, and he didn't receive us, so we had to find a way to send a message, and today is a special day because sadly it's our 4th year without Joaquin.
President Biden says his administration is working to better gun control measures. This comes as Parkland shooter Nicholas Cruz awaits his sentencing trial in April, which will determine whether he will get the death penalty or life in prison.
Nearly 10 years after the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, the families of 5 children and 4 adults killed have reached a $73 million settlement this afternoon. The lawsuit was against the manufacturer of the AR-15 style rifle this gunman used in the massacre, marking the first time in history that a gunmaker has to pay for the way its product was used.
When I saw the weapon, and it is a weapon, it's not a firearm, it's not a modern sporting rifle, it's not a family Swiss Army knife, it's a combat weapon. It's a combat weapon. And when I saw it, I didn't know it was a combat weapon at the time. I just thought, what is that thing? I've never seen anything like it.
The Sandy Hook gunman killed 20 first graders and 6 educators with the Remington rifle in December 2012. The lawsuit was filed in 2015. The victims' families say the company should have never been able to sell such a deadly weapon to the public.
Alec Baldwin has been sued by the family of the cinematographer killed during the production of the film Rust back in October. Baldwin was holding a gun given to him at the time while on set when a bullet was discharged, hitting Helena Hutchins as well as the director, who was injured. The family's attorney announced a lawsuit today against Baldwin and others involved in the incident.
There are regulations and guidelines in place today that should prevent something like this from happening, but they need to be enforced. And had they been followed, this never would have happened. This is so rare.
There have been other lawsuits issued related to the shooting, but this is the first one involving one of the people shot. Baldwin says it was an accident and he does not believe he will face criminal charges in the shooting. We'll take a short break now.
But don't go anywhere, because coming up, we'll take you to the biggest game of the year.
And we will tell you which celebrity turned to wax, but fans don't seem too happy about the outcome. All this and more after the break. We'll be right back.
Knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Canes baseball's back at Mark Light this Friday night. The team heads into the season with a 13-0 victory already under their belt. Over 60 former Canes took the field last Saturday in the annual preseason alumni game. The 2022 Canes baseball team dominated from start to finish, but the former Canes roster definitely did not lack talent. Arizona Diamondbacks farmhand Adrian Del Castillo and Colorado Rockies farmhand Willie Abreu were 2 pro Canes back in orange and green. And from the show, Chicago White Sox Romy Gonzalez brought his major league game back to college. Gonzalez was happy to see old fans and teammates at A-Rod Park, but the 2018 draft pick says playing at Guaranteed Rate Field is a completely different ballgame.
It's a totally different beast, you know, when you're playing in front of like 35, 40,000 fans, it's incredible. But yeah, Mark Light was, you know, it was fun. The fans get rowdy and stuff. They're really into the games, and it's, you know, I think it's obviously it's not like the major league level, but it's pretty cool.
Miami native may be living his dream, but he says there's nothing like the camaraderie at the Light.
In case you have not heard, the big game went down at SoFi Stadium this past weekend as the LA Rams pulled out a win against the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20. It was a four-quarter fight between the Rams and the Bengals that really came down to the last minute and a half of play. LA Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp was awarded MVP of the Super Bowl after scoring the game-winning touchdown for LA, in addition to receiving for over 90 yards and totaling for 2 touchdowns.
There's just this vision that God revealed to me that we were going to come back, we were going to be a part of a Super Bowl, we were going to win it, and somehow I was going to walk off the field as the MVP of the game.
Yesterday, Cooper Kupp, along with Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford and defensive tackle Aaron Donald, enjoyed a fun-filled day at Disneyland to celebrate the victory. The entire Rams team will parade around the city of LA tomorrow, February 16th.
The Super Bowl was not the only thing people were watching on Sunday night. The wildly popular TV show Euphoria also aired that night, giving people a dilemma on which show to tune into. And speaking of Euphoria, the star of the show Zendaya is generating a lot of buzz with the exhibition of her new attraction at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London. And not all of the feedback is positive. Some fans complain they think the fashion trendsetter is styled more like a flight attendant. The reaction on social media is not all negative, though. Some fans say it looks almost exactly like her. There's been no comment from the famous museum or Zendaya herself just yet.
I'm one of those people who thinks that the wax figure does not do Zendaya justice. So I'm very excited about our next story, which profiles a group of Miami artists who are creating awesome pieces without even being able to see them. To tell us more about them, we are now joined live by our reporter, Shristi Jaiswal, who met with the group over the weekend. Shristi, what makes them so special?
Kendall, I was at the workshop at Little Havana, which caters students with disabilities. I was so amazed to see such masterpieces creating without any vision.
Miami Lighthouse for Blind and Visual Impaired offers that makes a lasting difference in the community. From art and craft education to pre-employment services, from programs for children to adults to seniors. Here is the story of a young guy who got shot by his friend and lost his vision.
Once the doctor told me it was all gone, oh yeah, I was in a year of depression.
John was an architect before he lost his vision. He has difficulties now to make everything look perfect, but still, he didn't give up.
Well, let me see if I can do something that's hard for most sighted people to do, because a lot of people can't do things that I do with sight. So I said, let me try to do something without sight to see how hard it is to do and to master how I used to master it now. Like when I cut and carve, I have to use my fingers and measure like that. Sometimes I use my mouth just to see, make sure everything's going straight across. That's how I use and I use rubber bands a lot. And toothpicks, and I use popsicle sticks to help me keep the same length and thickness of everything. And just don't give up because you can't see, Because you can't see don't mean nothing. We still have our hands and our feet to use everything else without the sight.
Tell them to come out, don't be afraid, and to explore your inner self. And that's what art is about, and whether you have sight or you don't, you can find a creative venture that will connect with yourself, and you'll be able to express it, and you're going to feel good about it. You will feel good about it, and you will become an artist. There's just different forms of art, and hopefully you'll find that avenue.
Miami Lighthouse for the Blind offers art, music, and other programs for all ages, which helps them achieve their goals in the real world. In the world without sight, art still exists, and that's what Aaron Hill teaches his students. This is Shristi Jaiswal reporting live for UMTV.
Thank you, Shristi. We'll take a short break.
But don't go anywhere. When we return, we will show you how some people in Miami chose to spend Valentine's Day.
And we'll tell you which famous celebrity couple celebrated Valentine's Day with a diamond ring. Find out after the break.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Over the weekend, dozens of dogs and cats were feeling a sense of hope by getting adopted by South Florida residents. Let's learn more about the adoption event from UMTV reporter Jackson Dill, who went to check out the event and joins us live now. Jackson, how'd it go?
Erica, is a great event full of vendors such as frozen lemonade and antiques, and even a DJ playing music, but the big show was a show of support toward our furry friends. Love is in the air, towards pets that is. Last Sunday was the second annual Puppy Cat Valentine's adoption hosted at Space Park in the Little Haiti section of Miami. Miami-Dade County's animal shelter arriving with their trailer full of dogs and cats, hoping to get adopted and finding their forever home. For Robin Abel, it was her first week volunteering with the shelter.
This is just a great place, so I'm just glad to be out here meeting people and helping the animals.
Shelters across the country and the United States are full of pets waiting to be adopted. According to the American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, there are more than 6 million pets new to a shelter every year.
This is so a community-based effort just to help with all types of strays or whatnot, just to get them to better homes, as opposed to like a place that is just like a puppy mill or something that is like for profit.
The weather not helping as rain ended just as the event began. 3 total pets were adopted during the first 2 hours, including this lucky one.
They all need homes, man. I don't want any more breeding going on. We need to rescue the ones that are out. My mom has a rescue dog as well, so that's why I've always chosen to do rescue.
Prospective owners taking their dogs for a walk to decide which one may be the best fit to become an addition to their family. Numerous organizations, including Doghouse and PetSmart, were also at the event, supporting the new pet owners with information on how to take care of their 4-legged friends. To volunteers like Abel, animals bring joy to life.
This is just being human kindness and doing that with animals.
And the cost to adopt a pet starts at $65. If you're interested in adopting a dog or cat, you can visit miamidade.gov/animals. Reporting live for UMTV, I'm Jackson Dill.
Thank you, Jackson. And speaking of Valentine's Day, that's when gymnast Simone Biles broke the news that she's engaged. Biles' boyfriend, NFL player Jonathan Owens, proposed on Valentine's Day, and she said yes. Biles shared pictures on social media of Owens on one knee. She wrote in the caption, "The easiest yes, you're everything I dreamed of and more. Let's get married." The gold medalist and the Houston Texans football player started dating right before the pandemic. Owens told Texas Monthly last year the shutdown allowed them to really get to know each other and create a strong bond.
All right, so I think it's safe to say Simone Biles had the Valentine's Day everyone dreams of.
And as a big fan of Simone Biles, I know I was extremely excited when I heard the news.
And Kendall, speaking of Valentine's Day, do you know how much money Americans spent on Valentine's Day this year?
Probably a lot, right?
Yeah, a lot. According to the National Retail Federation, across the U.S., people were expected to spend nearly $24 billion on Valentine's Day gifts this year. They spent $22 billion last year, and that money goes mainly to candy, greeting cards, and flowers in that order.
Erica, dare I ask what you did for Valentine's Day?
You know, I think that's kind of private information, believe it or not.
Well, I can tell you, I didn't spend billions a day on Valentine's. I think a $15 chocolate box was enough for me.
Well, you know what? Next year will be your year. I feel it. All right, well, that is all the time we have for this week's edition of UMTV News. Thanks for tuning in.
Join us again next Tuesday at the same time. Until then, stay safe and have a great night.